All right, we are on Keilim Perek Zayin Mishnah Hey, fifth Mishnah in the seventh chapter of Masechet Keilim. We're talking about the Pitputim. I'm going to remind you that the Pitputim, we had a machloket between basically the Bartanura and the Rambam and a lot of other people. Are the Pitputim the legs, or are they the frame, the stand upon which the pot rests? There's a big machloket, nothing you can do. You have to explain the Mishnah either way. Nital echad mehen. If one of them, let's say one of them is taken away. Remember, it's a tripod. So now is it usable or not? Says the Mishnah, it's machloket. Mitamin b'maga ve'ena mitamin ba'avir. Yet they are still mitameh. They're part of the oven for maga, but not for avir. Divrei Rabbi Meir. Says Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon mitaher b'Shimon says no longer usable. They're not usable anymore. Therefore they're mitaher. Says the Bartanura, if one of them is lost, akate chazuk tzad. They're still a little usable. Liot sofet alehem et hakdeira. It's really interesting because sofet alehem et hakdeira implies meaning that you put the pot on them. But that's the other interpretation. If you understand this, I really don't understand this line of the Bartanura, because it's clear from before and after that he holds that the Pitputim are not the things that are on the top, but they're the legs. So how would you be sofet alehem on them? The ketera, okay, v'chashuv, it's considered natutz v'lo natutz, broken and not broken. It's metameh b'maga by touch, but not b'avir. I don't really understand this line of the Bartanura, I have to say. Maybe the only way I can understand it is alehem on them, like if the pot would, let's look at the Rapos in a second, you lost one, right? So it's interesting. This is only according to Tiferet Yisrael, according to the Rambam. He doesn't really have a picture for how the Bartanura explains how sofet alehem et hakdeira. I guess unless you could still somehow like balance the pot. It's interesting in the Mishnah Behira, he explains that you have the bottom of the pot is two wide rocks, two wide stands, 2 wide feet, and therefore when the third one was also wide, but when one of them is gone, the thing can still stand on its own. That's how he explains it. I would show you, but he doesn't give me permission to, so I won't. Nonetheless, that's a machloket. Is it mitamim b'maga, but not ba'avir, or tahor in general? Let's say you hold the whole thing you did, right? You made them very wide. You made only 2, according to the Bartanura, 2 stands, 2 wide, feet at the bottom. Rabbi Meir says that's enough. You don't have to have 3 in order for these Pitputim, according to the Bartanura, to be like a tripod stand. You can have 2. It's enough. Rabbi Shimon mitaher. Rabbi Shimon says this. Why is 2 enough according to Rabbi Meir? Remember we said if you took 2 rocks and you smear them with and you set them with earthenware, that was enough. So this is enough as well. Rabbi Shimon says no. Let's say they're taller than 3 etzbaot. Says the Mishnah, mishalosh ulamatan mitamin b'maga ba'avir. So at these stands, if it's too tall, it's really ineffective. Let's go back, not the Bartanura, but let's go back to the other side, to the Rambam. Okay, if they're too tall, then they're not effective. They're not really good. They're not usable as Pitputim. So therefore, he says from 3 etzbaot up to the 3 etzbaot, they're part of the kira. Meaning, if this is tamei, they're tamei, etc., and the other way around. But more than that, let's go back to the Mishnah. Hayu gvohim mishalosh etzbaot. If they're higher than 3 etzbaot, mishaloshu lematan, from 3 etzbaot down. Meaning from the 3 etzba, like the whole thing is like 6 etzbaot. So for this part and down, okay. Mitamin b'maga ba'avir. It's part of the kira. Mishaloshu lamalan, but the 3 on top, mitamin b'maga ve'ina mitamin ba'avir. They're mitamin b'maga by touch, but not in the air. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That's Rabbi Meir's opinion. Rabbi Shimon says no, they're not part at all. So somebody actually emailed me, commented, very astute. He said, I usually thought that either the whole part of something is tamei or not. Either the whole piece is tamei or the whole thing is tahor. But here we see another example where part is tamei and part is tahor. How they knew exactly where the line was, I don't know. But clearly you could have half of something be tamei and half of something be tahor, or have different properties, and didn't bother anybody. That was clearly the understanding. Hayu mishuchin min hasafa. So let's go according to the Bartanura. We're talking about legs. Now they protruded, they went out. So how do you know? We said if the legs, the 3 stands and they protruded out. So we said that it's part of the kira. Even the avir is part of the kira. Let's look at the Raposim for a second. It protrudes out. I don't know why I didn't do it diagonally, but you see the idea. It protrudes out. So how do you know? And on the other side, you could say, even according to the Rambam, the stand, like it's on the diagonal, it protrudes out. Okay, so What's part and what's not? Says the Mishnah, betoch shalosh etzbaot, within 3 etzbaot, mitamin b'maga u'ba'avir, it's mitamei maga u'ba'avir, but chutz mishalosh etzbaot, if it's farther out, outside of 3 etzbaot, mitamin b'maga, me'ina mitamin b'avir. Again, that's Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says it's maga, Rabbi Shimon mitaher. So outside of, it's interesting. Chutz min hasafa, outside the lip of the kira itself. So what's within the 3 is mitabe b'maga. Mashish b'toch shalosh hasafa nechshav kikira. Meaning, let's look back at our picture for a second. Okay, we're going to see how you measure it. But here you have to figure out what's within 3 espaot of the lip and what's within not. How are we going to know how to measure it? We'll see that in the very next Mishnah. We'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Reb Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman, and make it a great day.